I guess rather than fighting Star Scourge, we can go explore the Altus Plateau. That's something that we can do. I guess we can make our way into Landel. Let's go make our way into Landel. That's something I feel like is very, very good. That's steady progress, I think. We haven't had a terrible ton of opposition this stream. We got the entire Academy of Raya Lucaria done. Honestly, Raya Lucaria was a lot shorter than what I remembered. I thought Raya Lucaria, when I first played, was way longer than that. This is the place! So, coincidentally enough, I just happened to roll into the place that I came to before. This is the same area that I came to on my first playthrough. This is where that one dude is, with the fucking insane Giga Sword. The crazy Blender Sword guy that I was talking about that gave me a very rough ride when I first played this game. So I guess, rather than making our way through the Altus Plateau, let's go here and deal with this guy. Maybe we'll do a little bit better this time. Maybe we'll fare a little bit better this time around. Who knows? Let's go take on this castle. I don't remember exactly what this place is called, and I don't remember the way in. I remember running around here for a while trying to figure it out, but I think there's a broken wall somewhere that we have to jump over. Shaded Castle, that's what this place is called. Yeah, stop short. Okay, so there's no entrance in the rear, so let's go around the other direction of the castle, around the face. There's also basilisks here, which has me greatly concerned, but I don't remember them being too big of an issue, if I'm being honest. I also remember this place sucking quite a bit. Maybe this is how we get in. It is how we get in. Okay, I can kill these guys in 3 with the bleed. They poison me, though. Okay, no enemy ambush, no enemy ambush, alright. How many heals do we have? 2. But we have a Side of Grace, that's fine. We also have 21 grand, so let's spend the rest of our souls that we have in our menu, and let's drop a level real quick before we go into this place. Because likelihood is that this place is going to be very bad. If I remember the boss of this place kicking my ass, likelihood is that the regular enemies are going to be a little bit of a piss around too. So let's do a level real quick, if we can afford one. Yeah, we can afford one for sure. Just barely enough, I think. Although, honestly, am I still in mid-roll? Can I take off a piece of equipment and go into light roll? Still in medium load. Shit. What if I change out of my Carian drip? What if I go into this? That's 7.7. Okay. What is my equip load now? Still in mid. God damn it, man. Fucking Elden Ring. So, I think I'm gonna retract my previous statement about going through here and fighting the Gigasword guy. And the reason being is that I don't have light equip load yet. So, I think I'll go back to my earlier proposition of exploring the Plateau of Altus, and we'll come back to this guy at a later date. As much as I want to fight him right now, I do not want to fight him in medium equip load. I want to have an adequate equip load for fighting him. So I guess what we'll do is we'll just go back to the Tunnel of Old Altus, and then we'll go out of the tunnel face. And we'll go explore the Altus Plateau instead. I don't want to fight that guy in medium equip load. I don't mind fighting him this early on, I just don't want to do it in mid. I would rather fight him in light, and that's probably why I had an issue with him the first time, because I don't remember... Like, I remember his attack pattern being very difficult for me to adapt to, and I remember fighting him in medium equip load, and that's probably why I struggled with him so badly. So, in order to get a better go with him on the second time around, I think it would be better if I fight him with a lighter equip load rather than a medium one. Don't use gear so you have low load, but I don't want to be fucking naked either, because if I run around naked, I'm gonna get hit twice and die, Mario. The problem about getting a light equip load is that my weapon is bound to be way stronger at that point, so let me take a look and see what level my weapon is right now. It's at a plus 15. So I think the way I'm going to tackle that guy to get a stable curve is I'm going to make another weapon plus 15, but I'll continue to level this weapon. But I will fight him with a different weapon than this one. So I'll keep leveling this weapon, but I don't want the weapon to be so powerful that it'll decimate the shit out of him and make him a completely easy fight. Especially if it was a fight that I had a lot of trouble acclimating to and adapting to. Because that's part of the reason that I play these games, is I like gauging my own ability on the individual fights and being able to bypass them in terms of skill. Yeah, there's a lot of weapon slots, so what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll just start leveling up another weapon, and I'll use a weaker weapon than whatever this weapon turns out to be by the time that I'm ready to fight that guy. That way it doesn't seem like I'm just, like, overpowering the shit out of my weapon to be able to kill him. Because, like, if he's a fight that kicked my ass before, I want to see how much better I am at adapting to his swings and his patterns the second time around. But I don't want to cheese the fight by overgauging it with obscene damage either. And I feel like that is a decent way to be able to get my proposed learning curve and the learning curve that I want and desire from this game. And so it's a little bit unorthodox how I have to go about doing it, but I think that's the best way forward in that kind of scenario. Because I don't want to just cheese everything with obscene giga damage. I don't want to do that. Like, I want to have a fair and valid learning curve and have my struggles and have my, you know, bouts of disbelief and soul spirit crushing type shit, you know. Okay. Alright, Elden Ring. Apparently left is right, according to this game, because I held left right there and the horse just jerked right for no reason. Must have been the terrain or something. I don't know. That was a little odd. How you feel play through this after 2 years? I have the same sentiments about how I felt about it the first time. Like, certain things are very fun, and then other things feel like they're very unfair for no fucking reason at all. Like, it just feels like some of the ways the enemy attacks are designed and, went about is just very poor in this game. No, the game isn't dog shit. The game is very good. It just has poor structural support in certain places. And some of the enemies are just fucking trash with the way they're designed. Some of the boss moves and some of the enemy attacks just feel absolutely fucking bullshittingly unfair and dumb and invalid to me. Oh, you know what we can do? You know what would be interesting? Now that I see the windmills off in the distance. Speaking of weird abstract attacks and bullshit bosses and bullshit enemies, maybe if we can get up to the windmills, we can go fight one of the cooler bosses, I feel, of the game, while we explore Altus. So let's go do that, I suppose. No, it's not even hitbox bullshit. Like, see, this is why I hate explaining this game to people. Some of the bosses in this game have programmed attacks that are simply, undeniably, stupidly, ludicrously, obscenely unfair. Like, they have wombo combos that just hit way too close together, or they have attacks that have a ludicrous range, so even if you time your roll perfectly, they cover too much area for you to be able to iframe through. It seems like everything in this game was based on a support of you having a particular build or a particular item or a particular way to circumvent certain things. And I don't fucking like that at all in terms of dynamic approach, and I don't like the way the game is constructed when it comes to certain things. The game is very good. The amount of content that the game proposes is excellent. The build variety is fucking awesome, like it usually is. The weapons are really creative and boast some of the most creativity this time around, by far, in terms of all the Souls series. The boss designs and concepts are mostly largely innovative and new and unique, without borrowing too much legacy from the prior Souls games. Like, again, I hate playing in medium equip load, because had I been playing in fucking light equip load, I would have outspaced that attack, and I wouldn't have gotten hit right there either. So, like, I can dynamically look at this game and tell what its problems are. Like, I guarantee you, if I was in light equip load, I wouldn't be getting hit by any of that bullshit at all. Like, I would not be getting hit by any of that. But because I'm in medium equip load, I literally can't do anything about it. Yeah, the boss design is really good on certain bosses. On particular bosses, it is really good. On other bosses, it's fucking terrible. But overall, in large part, this game is very, very good. Like, I have very, very high respect for this game, especially given that this is Miyazaki's first take on an open world. I feel like it nailed everything that strives to be the pinnacle of an open world game very well. Like, there's a very delicate, good balance of side content mixed with main progression when you're adequately leveled for it. Like, in the very beginning of the game, when you have very little levels, like, when it comes to fighting Margit, like the very first boss, there's an insane lack of ability to do pretty much anything. They expect you to go run around and do a ludicrously, stupidly large amount of side content until you hit, like, level 35 or 40 for Margit to feel fair. But at that point, yeah, to prepare for him, exactly. But, like, that is the first introductory boss to the game, and that is where I feel they failed. I feel like that's bad structural dynamic. And this is the reason why. Is because they expect you to go grind to level 40 for Margit to feel fair, but at that point, your weapon can be, like, level 6 or 7, depending on what kind of exploration you've done. And that makes Margit absolutely ridiculous, because fighting him with a +4 felt like adequate damage. That felt fine. But you can fight him with, like, a +6 or a +7 and have him be, like, easy as fuck. But, like, in the beginning of the game, you have no health. You have no capability of dynamic. You have no armor to be able to roll in a light load and still have defense. You don't have enough health. Like, you don't have enough endurance. Like, some of his attacks are just absolutely poorly programmed and, like, unfair. Like I was talking about, his spin attack is ludicrously stupid. Like, his spin attack just doesn't feel fucking fair because you can't avoid it. You can't roll it. It's about grinding level, but amount you can explore is really big. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The accessibility they give you for the exploration aspect is supposed to present the world as an insane open blanket for you to go explore. But they feed you too much, too soon. Shouldn't have gone for a swing there. He should have hit me both those times. Shouldn't have gone for that third one, that's my fault. Valid. Shouldn't have gone for that third one. He should have caught me with that. That should have been death. I didn't deserve that. I'm not going to be able to dodge that. Like, see, what the fuck is that bullshit? Like, explain to me how the fuck I'm supposed to avoid that. Shouldn't have done that. Understandable. Nice. Very good boss fight. See, Godskin Apostle actually feels like it's a genuine learning curve. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that feels like a good fight. Like, that literally felt like an optional fight right there that I'm perfectly gauged for. Perfectly gauged for. I didn't have all 9 heals. I still have 1 remaining, which means I used like 7 Estus on that fight. My weapon was doing adequate, not obscene overkill damage on him. Like, it seemed like he was doing fair damage to me to necessitate an actual learning curve. Like, that felt like a perfectly balanced fight right there. Like, that felt like a perfectly good fight. That's the kind of balance that I want from this game all the fucking time. But you can't get that all the time. And again, that's where I believe it fails. So in terms of Margit, they give you too much accessibility of exploration too soon, too fast. So, like, by the time I fought Margit, I had played the game for about 4.5 hours, and I had grinded and done optional content and had my weapon at +4, and Margit was still a piece of shit. Like, he didn't feel properly well gauged. He didn't feel entirely fair. My damage felt fair. The amount of heals that I had felt fair. But his moveset didn't. If I had gone into him using summons, I feel like I would have had an easier time. But I didn't know how the summons worked. I couldn't recall. I couldn't remember. But it felt like Margit was gauged around you having summons to use. But they don't tell you how to use them that soon in the game. So even though that I had grinded and I had adequate damage and adequate health, it still felt like Margit was a piece of shit, and regardless of how well I played or how well I adapted, he was not beatable simply because I didn't know how to use the Spirit Ashes at the time. And I don't like that. Like, I want a boss to feel good. And, like, I didn't even have to use summons for him. And that felt totally fine. Like, that felt totally fair. That felt totally adequate. And don't get me wrong, I'm not just saying that because, oh, you beat him in one try, which is why you're saying that. It's like, no, like, that actually felt genuinely good. And, like, you can tell that, like, when I play the game and I'm like, I shouldn't have done that, or I rolled too early, or, yep, I forgot that's delayed. It's like, that's me critiquing my own gameplay. And I feel like that's an admirable quality, and it's something that people need to be open to doing to be able to truly excel at games like this. And granted, I don't play as well as I would like to all the time. That's okay. That's kind of what these games are about. These games are about struggle and acclamation. They're not about immediate success and reward. Like, that's not how these games work. That's not how these games got their identity. That's not how these games are going to be in the future. That's not how Souls-likes that bank on the qualities of these games are going to be. And, like, I love this series, and that's how I've been able to basically just come to my own demons and do that, and be able to critique my own gameplay, and critique my inability to adapt to certain things. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, people are going to take it in a poor way by, like, saying, oh, like, you suck at this game. It's like, yeah, I do suck at this game. That's the beauty of it, is sucking at the game and being better. And, like, gauging your skill compared to how you did before. Being more prepared for things that you weren't prepared for before. Like, gauging how you've done, you know, on a playthrough in 2 years compared to how you did the first time around. And I honestly feel like this second playthrough of Elden Ring, I'm doing a lot better. And granted, that's because, like, certain bosses I have certain knowledge of. Like, certain boss attacks I'm gonna remember. You know, I can't truly play the game blind again for a second time. But, like, my biggest gripes with this game come from something that could have been prevented if it had not been overshadowed and overlooked by the way it was developed. I.e., programming the bosses with unfair attacks, or programming the enemies with too much aggression for you to be able to roll and evade them. Like, no other prior Souls game has been like that. No Souls game has been like that. Literally every attack from every enemy and boss in every Souls game has been entirely avoidable. Every single time since the dawn of time. And this game just does not feel like that. It doesn't. It doesn't feel like that. The departure, in some ways, is good. And it's what gives it its quality over previous Souls games. And it also gives it a lot of creative flair, and it gives it a lot of its open nature and open-endedness. And I do believe that is mostly in part a quality and a strength rather than a weakness. But that isn't to say that it's not a double-edged sword and comes bearing its own share of disadvantages. You know what I mean? So when I critique a game, like, I used to get really just pissed off at games, and people would just see that as anger and not understand why I was so annoyed with certain things and why I was so fucking angry. And granted, a lot of the time it was due to my own inability to adapt, or it was my lack of good gameplay or whatever. But I have come to be able to critique things and give my own interpersonal thoughts about why something is constructed poorly and why I get frustrated with it, which I feel like gives it a more natural air of being understood and valid critiqued rather than oh, this person just sucks and therefore he's angry because he sucks, you know? Like, I just feel like it's better and it's more organic. In a way. I just feel like it's better. Like, it's more widely understood and more widely accepted. Biggest issue with Elden Ring, they give you way too much from the pick staff before fight boss. Everyone is free to have opinion. Yeah, but that's the thing. Is if people just say the game sucks, but they don't say why, you're a fucking clown. You know what I mean? Or if you say the game is good even, and you don't say why, I feel like you're a fucking clown. If you can't organically understand the strengths and weaknesses of the way a game is composed and constructed, then you have no right to say it's good or bad. You can fucking sit there and feel whatever way you want about a game. But if you can't explain why you feel like a game is poor in certain fields or good in certain fields, or, you know, explain why you feel about it so strongly as the way you do, then your critique of the game is not fucking valid. You're just emptily saying words. Or you're going with a widely gauged opinion. Or you're just speaking with and for a majority. You know, but like Elden Ring, largely in part, is a fucking very good game. It's a good game. I have my gripes with it with certain things, but for the most part, it's a fucking damn good game. It's got its problems, you know, like I'm not gonna say it's perfect. It's got its fucking drawbacks for sure. Like, I'm not gonna say it doesn't. I'm not gonna sit there and say it's a masterpiece in every regard, but mostly it is. Like, it's mostly good. It's a good game. What's up, baby cakes? What's up, why?
Words of Queen Marika, who vanished long ago, if you wish.
You know what the best quality of Elden Ring is? They finally figured out how to make NPCs' mouths move when they talk.
In Marika's own words.
No more dummy heads, no more plastic fucking mannequins talking and saying fucking lore. And Queen Marika vanished into the ether for no reason and nobody knows why. Blah blah blah. No more cryptic merchants with half-truths and fucking oddly spoken vestiges of words and fucking hollow emptiness. It's just like, at least they feel like people.
You will be forsaken, amounting only to sacrifices.
Yeah, but it's like when I die in this game or when I, you know, get killed by something, like, I'm not gonna whine and bitch every single time unless it's like pure bullshit, and then I'll be like, come on, game, like, fucking holy shit, this game sucks. Like, that's happened in Stellar Blade a couple times, but I still have a very high opinion of Stellar Blade too. It's an incredibly good game. It has some input issues sometimes. It has some bad qualities to it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna hold you. It has some bad shit about it. Let's go take one more look and see if we can fight Radahn before I leave off.